Now, BHL again probes the mysterious world of the Millennials to reveal how and what young America thinks. It's another spine-tingling journey into Yaffee World.
And Yaffee is here with us this morning, and I'm Mark Logus filling in for the Bud Man. We're talking about is the media responsible for race relations in the United States, and Yaffee has some information about how the Yaffee World generation views race.
Yeah, it's interesting because before the show, I think a couple of days ago, you asked me, hey, what does your generation think about race? Why don't you talk about that on the show? So I'm like, okay, and I decided to Google that, millennials and racism. And here's the stories I found, just some headlines for you. Millennials are just about as racist as their parents. So that's good. Millennials are more racist than they think. So we don't think we're racist, but we actually are.
Okay.
That was Politico, the preferred other one. This is from Slate. Why do millennials not understand racism? So that's another one. ARC study, don't call millennials post-racial. Millennials are less tolerant than you think. Turns out many white millennials are still pretty racist. So according to media reports, and by the way, all those stories are focused on whites.
Okay.
I noticed.
That's what I was, yes.
None of them are focused on any of the other races. There's no chance that blacks or Hispanics are racist.
Right.
It's just the white millennials are racist. That seems to be what the media is going for now.
Exactly. That's the media's template, which is the other races cannot be racist because they're minorities. I mean, they just don't understand the whole issue. The fact that this president is treated differently by the media, that is a form of racism. Why are they treating him differently? Because he's black.
That's an interesting point.
See? So, you look at that and you go, well, there was a student who told me once, they said, well, Obama deserves a second term. And I said, okay, why? Because I always ask them to do pros and cons and formulate a fact-based conclusion. And his reply was, well, because he needs a little bit longer to do things because there's never been a first black president. And I said, so basically you're saying that he needs extra help because of his race. Do you not understand that, to me, that sounds racist? You're saying the guy needs 2 terms to finish what other presidents finished in 1 term. And it was like a light bulb went off, and he goes, that's not how I meant it, but I guess that's how I mean it. That I figured he had a handicap because of his race.
Well, not only that, but a lot of people in my generation, some friends I know, voted for Obama because he was black. Yeah. And they wanted to be a part of history, and they wanted to, help a black guy run for president. Yeah. And they don't realize that that's kind of racist in itself. Yeah. Because the dream of Martin Luther King and others was that we judged people based on their individuality, based on their character, based on who they were.
That's right.
But it seems like my generation is not getting to that point yet. I think a lot of people in my generation want to get there, but we are being divided once again. We're being divided by the media, and we're being divided for politics.
I look across my students, every class, I teach at Valencia College and at the University of Central Florida. I'm tenured at Valencia. And I look at blacks and Hispanics and Asians and whites, and every one of my classes, they're sitting next to each other. Right. They're communicating. We're talking about very controversial issues. I teach U.S. government, state and local government, government and the media. And no fights have ever broken out. No disrespect. I mean, there's a difference of opinion. Respectful. That's called constructive conversation, a debate.
And right there, when you look out and you see that, I think that's where my generation is. In our everyday lives, in our everyday dealings, we're not racist. Right. The majority of Americans, especially my generation, we're not racist.
Right.
But I think we're still being pushed to be divided.
Right.
And a lot of it's for politics.
Yep.
I mean, you have I've talked about this before, you have a whole party in the Democrat Party who convinces and says to the black community and Hispanic community every day, you're a victim, you're a victim, you're a victim, you're a victim. But, of course, you have the Republican Party that doesn't even address the blacks. They consider, we'll never get the black vote, which that, to me, doesn't make any sense either.
You never throw any vote away. You try to speak to people and understand that a party platform includes them.
So I think my generation in everyday life is trying to be post-racial, but because of politics and because of the way the media is and social media, we're still being divided on these things, and we're not really understanding what the true dream is. But that's why I'm here, to help make things better in Yaffee World.
Join us next time for another illuminating journey into the mind of the millennials in Yaffee World.